Hello adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going on a very exciting deep dive through history in a really unique way. We are in a really cool place that I'm about to share a little bit more about, and I can't wait. This is going to be fun. This has been on my list for a while, and I think that you guys will be super excited to come with me because today we are going to Gold King Mine. That's right, we're just outside of Jerome, and we're going to someplace pretty interesting. Now this guy here has brought literally every single one of our friends out here before, and so it was my turn. I said, I want to go, and so he's going to be our tour guide today. So if you guys aren't following Aussie Van Man, go follow his channel, but he's going to show us around. Before we move inside and start looking around, Brock was just telling me that this is the man who's made most of this stuff happen, and unfortunately he's passed away, but they have this wall here to remember him and all the work he did. He used to enjoy working on the various vehicles and even has a race car here, which is pretty cool. And you can see there he is up there. That's a really neat photo. That's really, really cool. Okay, as soon as we come in, we got our admission taken care of, and it says here to please not climb onto the vehicles and things like that, so we're going to respect that. But also we picked up a map. Okay, thanks to our handy dandy assistant here, we can see the map, and we started out right here, and there's a whole bunch of different places that we can go and explore, so I'm very excited about this. But they do have some various points of interest here along the map that I'm kind of excited about, and they did say that the blacksmith was in today, so that should be pretty neat. Are you excited, Brock?
Always.
So where are we going to start out?
I think we'll go down the bottom and see some of the old cars.
Okay, down we go. Now the interesting thing about this area is you can find all sorts of different, really unique vehicles that are just kind of hanging out here in a big collection. And it's kind of wild because some of these I've seen before and some of them I haven't, but kind of looking at the different details of each one of them, you can see the different body styles and the various points that they have, you know, had throughout the years. It's kind of interesting. But then you find things like this, which is, you know, it's a nomad of sorts. Like, what is this? Was this like the bus life of the past? It's kind of interesting. I've definitely seen some things like this at Nelson, but not since then. Now, for those who aren't familiar what I'm talking about when I say Nelson, Nelson is a place that is an old gold mining, silver mining area that is in Nevada, and it's kind of set up like this, and we've been there on the channel, so I'm going to try to link that in one of the corners up here if I can remember to do that. But yeah, definitely some similarities, and I am digging it. It's so fun, but this is different because up on the top of the hill in a minute, we're going to get to explore some structures and buildings also. So this could be an interesting little trip out here. So let's keep looking at some of the interesting things we can find. Some of this big equipment, I have no idea what it is, but it's really cool. So this looks like a little Ferris wheel. However, obviously it probably isn't a Ferris wheel. So if you guys know what this is, let me know because I'm very curious. It's interesting to see all of these pieces, but sometimes when you don't have a reference point for them, like some of the mining stuff I've seen before, some of the vehicles I've seen before, but that I have not seen before. Have you? Just past all of the vehicles that we were just looking at, we started to get to some of the buildings, and here we learn where they slept. In fact, this historic sign shows you some of the oldest buildings in the Jerome area. It tells you a little bit more about each one of them, and it's really fascinating. In fact, here we learn that at one point, Jerome, like many other mountain communities and mining communities, had a fire, and it decimated a lot of the area. So they put in place some rules. If you were to build a new structure, you had to build with non-flammable materials, because not only would that save your business, but it could save your neighbors and also your neighbor's neighbor. And so here we learned a little bit more about that ordinance that passed, when it passed, and what those buildings kind of started to look like versus what they looked like before. And we also get to stare inside of this really interesting door that I'm going to show you in just a minute. In this top corner, we have one of the boarding houses, and that was in 1915. Kind of central, we have the Daisy Hotel, and then also it shows you the Douglas area of Jerome. Then below that, you can see kind of just what that would have looked like whenever they built this area up. And you could see how the mountains would kind of surround it. Now here, you can see the Montana Hotel, which was completed in 1900s, and it had about 200 rooms and could have seating for up to 400 people at a time. But this goes on and on. In fact, this place is pretty expansive, so I'm going to give you some of the highlights, and then I encourage you all to come out here and check this out for yourself, because it's really neat, guys. Mr. Van Man.
Yes, ma'am.
So this cabin over here, it looks kind of like a bachelor pad. It looks like there are some long johns in there. Do you have any long johns?
I have some thermals.
Are they red?
They're not red.
What did you just say to me?
Said you might feel more at home at this cabin here.
Why is that?
Because this is where all the washing machines and irons are.
Wow. Wow. According to Brock, we're going to get along great in here because there's all the laundry stuff. He has a sense of humor today, I see. He's feeling a little bit feisty as our tour guide. But, Brock, are all of the different buildings kind of divided up in different things like this?
Yeah, they can be. There's like a blacksmith shop. There's like electrical place, a wood area. They actually have a working mill here. I have not seen the mill working since the old man who owned this place passed away, but the first time I ever came here, the mill was running and they were actually milling wood.
Interesting. Very interesting. So as we kind of go into each one of these, there's going to be themes. And that's kind of neat, because usually you go in and you see a cabin and you see what a person might have experienced and it looked like. And then you go to the next cabin and it's just another person's story in a very similar scenario. But here they have collections that are kind of curated. So that's kind of neat. They also have some signs like this guy back here that we're about to check out to find out a little bit more about this place. But I'm kind of fascinated because I'm seeing a really healthy collection of all the different laundry things. So even though I think he was being a little snarky earlier, I am really digging this one because it's neat to see all of the evolution of washing, drying, ironing, and how much different it is than our modern conveniences today. So maybe he was right. This right here is actually called A Wonderful Laundry Story, and it tells the story of the Daisy Mine and also the family who lived here. And in doing so, it talks a bit more about these two women. And I think that this is really neat because it shows that there is a lot of different history here at this very location. And even though a lot of people think that this is more of a touristy spot because it does deep dive into a ghost town, it also has a lot of rich history that is tackled through signs like this. In fact, we learned that Aurelia, her husband actually worked in the mine, and she was in charge of the laundry, and she would take care of not only repairing laundry, but also laundering things and then bringing it to the Douglas mansion. And I think that it's really nice that they've touched on her story because that's part of the fabric of, again, the people who have been in this area, their footprint, and their impact on the surrounding area, even to this day. So So we're gonna move on to our next building and see what's next. I'm getting so excited. I came out of the laundry area and I seem to have lost Brock. I can't find him. It's a ghost town and, well, did the ghost get him? Oh no, I found him. Brock, what did you do this time? What did you do?
I don't know, I guess I ate too many carne asada fries and they didn't like me for that.
Wow. Every time we go someplace, you're always getting locked up. Yep, but at least you got locked up in a cool place because it looks like there's the history of the Jerome Jails just like right behind you. Oh, he's not even locked up. He's a big fat faker today. Brock, what's this about? Very ornery, sir. Very ornery. Like, this sign is a bit worse for wear, but it does have a map of all of the different jails that were once in Jerome. Did you know that there were 4 of them? This is kind of interesting. So it shows here all together the different locations of like the town hall and then the jail that was in the county branch, and then also what they called the sliding jail. And then they have another town hall situation down here, and then you can see some historic photos. But they also have some items that you might have found inside of the jail inside here. Kind of interesting. Leave it to Brock to find the jail. Always. Ornery, finding the jail. We are now entering into the shoe shop, and here it looks like a full shop of interesting things. So Brock said that this is the gas station, so we can find all sorts of different gas pumps and interesting things. And wow, there's quite a collection out here of unique things, to say the least. They have like jerry cans and all sorts of things that you might have found at a gas station way back when. It also has some of the cool signages and all of these belts. Huh, interesting. Interesting, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And as we move out to the back of the gas station area, you can also see an overhead view of some of those trucks that we were looking at. Wow, this is quite the collection. Now, Brock did say that this collection is actually smaller than it used to be. Whenever the older man who was here was still alive, you could go further into this area and he had a lot more vehicles and things. But this is quite impressive to see from this angle. Okay, so we found this, and I was just hearing an interesting story. What were you just telling me?
So I've always really liked this thing, and last time I was here I was taking photos of it. It's all these like firearms that have been welded together for like an art piece. And I was like, who would waste all that money on all these, like, they're not cheap firearms, and weld them all together like that. So I was always wondering why that is, and there was never a sign before telling you about why it's here, and now we have this sign here.
So we found out that they are all confiscated firearms from 1930 to 1960, and they all come from West Virginia. So this is pretty interesting, and if you look closer you can see the various kinds of guns that are affiliated and associated with this. So it's pretty cool. Now the front door says painless dentist, but I don't know that that was necessarily always the case. But here you can find a really interesting collection of all these dental items. And it's really neat to see because the collection that they have includes not only the tiny little bottles and things that they might have used, but the chair and the full workstation. And then behind us there's some historic photos of the process of bringing this building here and then also creating this atmosphere for us to come and visit today. It's really neat to see these items all in curated collections, and I'm really enjoying this. Now, Brock did say that a lot of these buildings that we can now walk into, previously you couldn't, and so it's a really neat thing to be able to see what they have in these in a little bit closer fashion than just being able to glare through the door. And so, really neat. Super, super neat. Okay, pretty interesting. We just learned that there's miles of tunnels under Jerome because of all the mining, and that they have an open pit mine that's like right outside of town still behind the firehouse, but that there used to be a huge open pit right over this ridge. And so everything that we're seeing is actually what was kind of kicked out from that and thrown over. So it's pretty fascinating to come out here and just listen to some of the stories and read the things. And as we kind of go around, we're seeing, of course, relics from the past, but we're getting some of those explained to us, which is even better. So this is like the wood shop, and it's pretty neat to see what all they have inside of it. Across, though, we also have a schoolhouse, and then we were just talking to the man at the mill, and they actually do still have a working mill here, which is pretty neat. And Brock said that he actually got to see it operational before, so that's really, really cool. But let's go see what's in the schoolhouse. Okay, so here we have some of the photos from Jerome's past, and it actually shows you some of the schools and also the people. In fact, this one right here, Jerome High School from 1914, is no longer standing. So being able to see photos like this give us an idea of what Jerome used to look like. There's also a wooden frame grammar school that's no longer standing here. So it's important to come and stop at each one of these and learn from them, but also we can see what a schoolhouse might have looked like at the time. This, guys, is an awesome story about the house that we're about to go look at. It was the last remaining one of 60 homes in this area, and it was actually vacated in 1959 after a woman named Petra lived there to be 105. But the interesting part of the story is after that. She moved to Prescott and lived for 3 more years. Wow. Fun story. So I was about to tell you guys that I found a rattlesnake sign, and just about that time a lizard hopped off of it and scared me. I nearly ran down this path and probably would have tripped over something, fallen to my death. I know that sounds dramatic, but I don't think you understand the phobia that I just had come to life and be very real for a moment. You just laughed at me.
It was entertaining, yes.
It was not entertaining for me. It was scary. Why do you keep bringing me to places with snakes?
It's Arizona, they're everywhere.
For all of you guys who don't like snakes, only come here during winter. But realistically, this is a really cool place. So we have on good boots and we're fine. And the little lizard is cute now that I'm not afraid of him. Okay guys, this is kind of interesting. I was just told by the blacksmith that this truck right here is actually a symbolic part of this area, and there's a reason for that. If you look at the very back, it's actually holding up the building itself. And so at one point in time there was a picture that was snapped, it was put into a calendar, and people were like so excited about coming out here that this once thought to be temporary solution turned into a permanent fixture. And so now you can come out here and see the truck that holds up the building, and it's just really neat looking. Okay, so here we can actually find a mine shaft that's been filled in. We cannot go into the mine here, and I think that's really important for you to realize. If you see signs like this, they mean it. It's dangerous. Don't try to do it, but we can actually see into the hole to see what it looks like when they plugged it. Right beside that we see a bunch of different items that might have been used in the mines, including some of the drill bits and then some of the handheld tools. Now the mine itself, again right here, closed in 1914, and it was at one point in time 1,270 feet deep. Oh my goodness guys, they have donkeys. I'm so excited, so excited.
Hi buddy. Aww, sweet one. Uh-oh, this one's wanting to come down and see you. Aw, he's so cute, he keeps asking you to pet him again.
Now we went on the upper truck trail, and they have the larger vehicles up here, and then you get this great vantage point of all the things that we've been looking at. And I've really been enjoying myself because, well, I didn't expect to see, for one, the goats, the donkeys, the chickens. There was a bunny, but they also sell eggs here from their chickens, so that's kind of a neat additional feature that kind of makes this place a little bit different. And then also the blacksmith not only does things here on property, but he also does them remotely. So I grabbed one of his cards to see what all he has. It's pretty cool. So got some more exploring to do, but let's go back down the hill. Okay guys, that's gonna do it for us here on this wonderful tour through the ghost town. I had a wonderful time sharing this with you. I hope that you enjoyed coming along, seeing some of these relics from the past, learning a little bit more, and also seeing that really cool punch hole. That was really neat to see how that they plugged that, but more so learning a little bit more about the history of Jerome. This has been really fun, and remember guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. Till next time guys, bye!